Hi, good morning. Happy Thursday. Y'all want to see something fun? My recycle bin turned over. Oh, I know, girl. You get it. A recycle bin turned over and now Penny's going to get it. Well, we got to go pick it up. Yeah, you go, girl. We'll be back. Lord, it's already been an exhausting walk this morning. So I picked up, sorry I'm out of breath. Penny's been running because a cat ran. I was trying to slow her down. Anyway, it feels like 21, and when it's that cold, you know, it affects your breathing, or it does mine. And no, I've had all my labs checked and I am perfectly fine. I'm just fat, okay? But anyway, I'm fat and it's cold and I've been chasing a dog because she was chasing a cat after she attacked the trash this morning, okay? But I picked up all my trash. It was the recycle, thankfully. I picked all that up and stood the trash can back up. And then I picked up Joan's trash, stood her trash can back up, and let me tell you, it was packed full of trash. So that was no easy feat. And then she sees the cat and takes off running. And here we are. Here we are. Good morning. Goodness. So this morning we are going back to, I don't know, early 70s, okay? Because I saw a video. There's a young man on TikTok. He has an upstairs apartment, like over a garage. He's like 19, I think. And his entire apartment is very, what would you call that? Like Victorian decor. His stove is like a 1900s wood stove type. Not really a wood stove, but I don't know. It's original and it works. He showed the eye the other day. He was making a chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie. That's from something and I can't remember what it's from. Anyway, and he picked up his pot and he showed that the eye was red. And he has a, what you call it, a freezer box? An ice box? Maybe that's what it's called, an ice box. Anyway, it's a little refrigerator. Probably not much taller than me, if it's any taller than me. It's probably shorter than me, now that I think about it. And it's got one little freezer section up top, and the rest of it's refrigerator. I mean, his couch, his phonograph. He doesn't have a record player, he has a phonograph. It's all very eclectic and Victorian, and he drives a Victorian era car. I mean, and he dresses in Victoria era clothing. I mean, this is how he lives. It's not just like a skit he plays for where he works or something. It's actually how he chooses to live. Anyway, I had a little PTSD watching his show. His video, because he took an ice tray out of the freezer, and it was one of those metal ice trays. How many times did we take a metal ice tray out of the freezer and get our fingers stuck to it? And within seconds, your fingers felt like they were gonna fall off, and then you had to go run it underwater, and that hurt to get it off your fingers. Y'all remember those? My grandmother had them. And you had to lift the handle to break up the ice. No good. No bueno. I'll be back. Okay, I know I said we were going 1970 and then I went Victorian, but now we're coming back to the 70s, okay? Because my mom and my grandmother had the ice trays, and I hated them. I was so happy when we got plastic ice trays that my little bitty fingers wouldn't stick to. That was very stressful, okay? It was very stressful as a kid to try to get ice. However, I liked when you raised that thing up and it broke the ice in a bunch of little pieces. That was the girl's mom. She was waiting for me to pull out. I said, I'll get out of your way. Maybe I was too far in the middle. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so then this morning I was watching a video, and they were in an antique store. It was Lester and Jamie, for those of you who follow them, and he mentioned a record, and y'all go watch it because it's a cool antique store. But it carried me back to my grandmother's house again, but this time it wasn't PTSD from an ice maker. It was her 8-track tapes. And do y'all remember the 8-track tapes? I hated when they would get stuck in the player, and then all the ribbon would come out when you would pull them out. And it wasn't like the cassette player that you could just use a pencil to suck all the ribbon back in. I think they were pretty much ruined. I mean, 8-track was kind of going out when I got to the music stage. It was more cassette tapes. But I did play 8 tracks because I had a 1970-ish, I think it was a Pontiac, I mean not a Pontiac, a Chevy Super Sport, and it had an 8-track player. So I would steal my brother's 8 tracks and play them in my car because I didn't have any. And of course they drove my car all the time because I was the responsible one and bought myself a car, and they weren't always responsible as young men, you know what I'm saying? So they would borrow my car. Mostly it was Lonnie, and he would leave his 8 tracks in the car. So I listened to Cheech and Chong. I was listening to Cheech and Chong, okay? And this car, the shocks went out on it, and it had a bench front seat that had been recovered, and it was slick as snot. So every time I turned a corner, I would slide, because, you know, we didn't wear seat belts. I would slide across the seat and hang on to the steering wheel, and then I would have to hop myself back over to sit behind the steering wheel. I mean, you think back and you think, why didn't you just wear a seat belt to keep you in place? But that was just not, I don't even know if the car had seat belts, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, I was listening to Cheech and Chong, and then the shocks went out, so my mother and I got so tickled because we stopped at a traffic light, and my car kept bouncing for like 3 minutes while the traffic light was red. We just sat there bouncing like Cheech and Chong, listening to Cheech and Chong. And I listened to the, you know, Allman Brothers and the Doobie Brothers and all the Doobies, you know what I'm saying? Bob Seger and the Eagles and Leonard Skinner. But when I went to my grandmother's house, it was Kiss an Angel, Good Morning. Charlie Pride. She loved Charlie Pride. And there was another one that she, country singer that she really loved besides Charlie Pride, and I can't remember who it was. But, Jeannie somebody, she had her CD, 8-track. Anyway, I would go to my grandmother's house and I would play with her 8-track player, and I would listen to all her music. So I have a wide variety of musical interest. Anyway, it was just fun going back in time and thinking about the 8 tracks and getting the PTSD stirred up on the ice trays. Yeah, it was a good time. A good time was had by all. But unfortunately, my blue Chevy Super Sport didn't last long. So my first car was a Mercury Bobcat, and it belonged to the neighbor who owned a pest control company, and the inside of the vehicle, it was like permanently smelled like pest control, which was very strong back then. And I had all of those car things in my car. You know, the pine trees trying to smell it up. They probably thought I was smoking pot because I had so many of them, trying to take away the smell of the pest control. It didn't work. I mean, the car just stunk. And I would ride around with the windows down all the time because the car stunk. But then it died, and I bought that Chevy Super Sport, and I think the engine just fell out of it. Like, that's what my brother told me. I think my brother was driving it, and I think he said the engine fell out of it. I don't know. I don't even know what happened to the car. I was probably 17 to 18 years old. So then I went and bought a used Chevy Chevette. Whoa, wasn't that a nice car? And I bought it because I went to work for this. So I went to work at the police department first. And I worked there for a couple of years, but I couldn't go full time because my dad worked there. So then I went to work for this heating and air company, and I absolutely hated it. But the lady that worked there drove a Chevy Chevette, and she let me drive it one time, and I loved it. Because it was so much better than the cars I'd had. So I bought a used one, and then I wrecked it. It was totaled. It wasn't my fault though. And then I bought another Chevy Chevette, and it was a lemon. So that's my time up to 1984-ish. Yeah, that was my life. 4 cars and 4 years basically. So anyway, I'm on my way to work, and I think I have talked too long now, so I may have to edit parts out. What else is new? Because I talk too much. But I hope y'all have a great day. And remember that I love you and Jesus loves you. And I hope he's coming back soon, because people are crazy. And I'll talk to you on the next one, okay? And I sure hope it warms up, because this feels like 21 is ridiculous, okay? Okay, bye.